All right, so I know you can already see it on the wall. This is obviously the completed project, and I lost some of the footage, so all I could really find of a before was a picture. So I inserted that in there, and I know I talk a lot. I just try to give as much information as I can while not really knowing what I'm doing. I do a lot of research on YouTube for stuff. I'll show you some of the mistakes I made. Hopefully you don't make those same mistakes. If you do have any questions, ask me. I'll do my best to answer them, but honestly, I learn a lot from YouTube. I'm probably not going to be building any more bikes. But anyway, this one was a lot of fun. I saw some of these colors on another bike, and it was actually a hutch, and I just had to build it. I just was really digging the colors. I'm not going to do stickers. I do still have to add the brake cable, which I talk about in the video, but I'm super proud of this one. I hope you guys like it. I'm digging the loop tails. This is probably going to be, like I said, my last one. I've got the other Californian that I built. This one's actually a 92. I don't think it technically falls under the old school BMX. There's a lot of debate about that, but I would probably agree it doesn't technically fall under that. But I'm going to call it old school because I built it and that's what I wanted to do. So anyway, check it out. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and check out the other videos if you want. All right, I'll be back with something else. I don't know what it'll be, but I'll see you guys soon. All right, getting started on the next build. This is my 92 Mongoose Menace. I'm completely stripping it. It's another loop tail. This is really going to be 100% custom, just kind of what's something I want to build. So I've got some paint stripper. I'm going to put on one coat, wait about 24 hours, see how it works, and I'll get back to you. All right, first coat is on. I just put the paint stripper in a cup and use the brush like this. I'm going to get back with it in about 24 hours. See how it comes off. I might film some of it as I'm scraping off. Maybe not. I've also got a sand blaster that I might use if there's any remnants left on, or just really see how this does. But I'll check back in with you and let you know how it goes. All right, I said I was going to wait 24 hours, but it looks like it's really doing a great job. Those are the crank arms that I'm going to use, and I'm not going to clean it entirely on camera. I'm just going to scrape a little bit here. And you can see it's coming up a little bit. I'm not holding it, so it's a little difficult with one hand. But I'm going to let it sit probably for the full 24 hours. All right, quick little update for you. I didn't record as much as I thought I would. Stripping the frame, forks, and also the crank arms. It got to be a lot of work. I was first starting out with this citrus stuff. Went over to the premium stripper. It was still a lot of work, maybe because I didn't try to remove the stickers. Maybe they were clear coated on. I really don't know. I don't really do this stuff a lot, but I got my sander out and 80 grit around the whole thing, and finally got that done. This is what I'm painting it. I'm using this blue anodized, and it says if it's not already chrome or something to that effect, that you should use a primer, so to speak, of this. So I've already done the forks, and they look really good. I'm getting ready to lay down a coat of the blue on the forks, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so these are the forks after I've already sprayed that primer, if you will. A little spot right there. I might try to wet sand that out a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and try and paint that blue on here, see how it comes out. All right, check out that blue. I don't know how well that's coming out on camera, but it looks absolutely awesome. And there's a little bit of a spot right there, but honestly, this is probably just going to be a wall hanger, something I wanted to build, and I can put that side against the wall, but this looks absolutely insane. Hopefully it dries, flattens out a little bit when it dries. You got to be real steady, and it's got to be an even coat. Tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and do a clear coat on it. I really want it to be solid and a little bit durable. Hopefully I don't mess that up, but all right, let's check back tomorrow. All right, so here's the frame. I've already put down the first coat of that so-called primer, I guess you could say, that I mentioned in one of the other sections of the video. I know I mentioned using my sand blaster, but I don't think my compressor is large enough to get that working. So anyway, just had to sand it down, like I said. And this is going to be tough to use that anodized painting because anodized paint, because it's really got to be laid down pretty even, or else some areas might be a little darker than others. I can see right there I've got a little faux pas right there that I got to get taken care of. But anyway, there you go. Just a little update for you. And all right, I'll probably lay down the rest of it, get it cleaned up, and then start doing the blue. All right, check out that blue. So the frame is completely done. Forks are done. Crank arms are painted. I've got the pedals on there. And I will tell you, if you plan on using this blue anodized kind of paint, it's really difficult to lay down perfect. At least it was for me. As you spray it, if you overspray it all in one area, it's going to be a little bit darker. You can possibly pick some of that up in the video. I really don't know, but I can see it, but I'm not going to let it bother me. That's kind of hard for me to do. My OCD kicks in a little bit there, and I like things to be perfect, but I'm going to let it ride like it is, man. I'm pretty stoked about it. This is going to be a wall hanger for me. I'm really digging these colors, and I'm not going to show you any of the other parts until I start to put it together. I've got the headset on the way, the bottom bracket on the way, the seat post on the way, the sprocket is on the way, which I'm going to have to do some painting. But anyway, just a little update for you. Next video, I'm going to start putting it together. I'm sorry I haven't shown you any of the painting, but it's just laying down the paint. You know, I would suggest practicing on some stuff if you've never used a rattle can before. Usually it's pretty easy, but this stuff, man, definitely take your time. It was not easy, but there you go, man. Check it out. All right, cool. All right, so my bottom bracket came in. This is an American bottom bracket. There's a couple different sizes. 19 millimeter, I believe, and the other one is 22, if I remember right. Anyway, I've got a 19, and that's kind of what was on the bike when I got it, and I just kept it, and I cleaned up the crank arms and painted those white. But anyway, I'm not going to actually film myself putting it in entirely, but as I pull back, I can't really hide it much more because the bike is starting to come together. But this is what we're looking at. I don't have the headset on. The forks are just kind of sitting in there. Wheels are just tentatively sitting in there. But I've shown this on a different video, and this is the tool I'm going to use. I'll get everything set up real quick, and then I'll show you where I'm at. But again, I'm not going to show you a video of me actually installing it. It'll just be kind of preparation. I've got some grease here. I've got Ford grease, so it's probably going to add about 15-20 horsepower. But yeah, let me get everything set up, and I'll be right back. All right, so I've got it all set up to go. I only do one side at a time just because I don't want anything to get cockeyed or get in there crooked. I'll use my crescent wrench to hold on to one end and twist it around the other. But pretty simple setup if you have this tool. If you don't, I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but I think it was pretty cheap from Amazon. Most of my stuff I got from Amazon, but I'll get it fully installed and get back with you. All right, there it is, all installed. I'm not sure what's going on, but it is pretty tight. I've done a handful of these, and I've never had it be quite as tight as this one is. So I'm going to do a little research. I don't know, I'm probably not going to figure anything out, and I'm probably going to leave it because this bike is not going to be ridden maybe once or twice just for the kicks. It's really just going to be a wall hanger for me. So I don't know, just wanted to mention that because everything doesn't always go perfect for me. Pretty typical anyway because I don't really know what I'm doing. Took the wheels off and everything because I don't want to end up scratching the paint. I want to put it on there and leave it on there. But all right, there you go. All right, I got an update. I said I was going to leave it alone, but I just couldn't. This side here was not fully seated. So I just checked a couple forums, and that was a suggestion somebody else made. So I checked it, and sure enough, this one was a little bit crooked, which threw everything off. As you can see now, still a little tight, but it'll work itself in a little bit. All right. All right, so just wanted to give you a parts update and let you know what's going on. I'm not showing a lot of what I'm doing, just as much as how everything's coming out. But, you know, this is a custom build, and it's been difficult finding the parts in the color that I want. So literally everything I'm having to paint. The frame, the forks, obviously, and the sprocket, I went with this one right here. And I've got this one on the one behind me. And if you can see, it's kind of black and chrome. So everywhere that there would be black, I'm going to paint white. And so it's going to be white and chrome. I didn't take it off yet because I've got this little adapter right here for the 19 mil axle. And I also wanted to talk about, because a lot of times I don't know what I'm doing, so maybe I'm giving some information to someone that doesn't know what they're doing, or they're trying to learn something, and this might help you figure something out. So I've only built a couple of these, and when you put the sprocket on, and you can see that hole right there. Well, it's obviously on the drive side. It goes on this little notch right here. And the ones that I've built, it has a bolt that goes in and secures it. So when I got that, I started to remember that I did not paint a bolt, which I would have, for the crank arm. And it's solid. I haven't seen one like that before, so I did some research. And apparently, I guess there are some that come solid. Now, I'm not going to ride this bike. If I was going to ride this bike, honestly, I would go ahead and get a different crank arm or a whole new crank set and have to paint them over and start from the beginning. But if I was going to ride it, I don't think I would trust that sprocket is going to stay in place just with that and the pressure against the bottom bracket. Okay, because it's basically just going to sit in there. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to kind of cover that and touch base. Maybe somebody's come across that before. And I also got, which I know is an old school BMX, or some people are going to question if it's old school because it's 92, and I get it. And I wanted to do chain tensioners. I like the look of them. I know it's not something that would have been on an old school bike, but I like the look of them. And it's also going to break up that blue in the back. So they came in black. These were like $5, $6, $8, something like that on Amazon. But I wanted white, so I painted it white. I guess my whole point is, if you want something, just kind of make it yourself. I know I didn't get a blank piece of metal and get it on a lathe, but you get what I'm saying, you know? And I like taking things that look terrible and make them look good. I don't know, we probably all like doing that a little bit, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to say, if you can't find what you're looking for, go ahead and get something that's close, even though it's black and white. Get something that's close, or maybe a blank slate, and I've got to sand all this down and paint it, and then you've got what you want. I'm doing this a little bit because if I happen to scratch any of the paint putting the rear tire on, this should hide some of that, and I really just like the look of them. So anyway, there you go. That's a quick update. I'm still waiting on the headset. I'm not going to do a little clip when I get the headset. I've got to paint that. It's going to be white, but then I'll start putting the bike together, and I'll kind of show you some clips of that. All right, cool. Check back in a bit. All right, so I finally got all the parts in to finish the bike. If you remember from the last clip, I showed you the sprocket that I got, and I told you I was going to paint it. I'm not sure if you can see that okay. If you can't, you'll see it when it gets on the bike, but I painted all of this white and left the polished aluminum polished. So pretty stoked about that. It came out awesome. I mean, I don't think I could be more happy about that. I also got my chain tensioners, which I know is not really old school BMX style, but I like the look. They were actually black. They didn't have white, so I painted those white as well. And really as best as I could. You know, I'm definitely not a professional anything. And then I finally got the headset in, and it, you know, they didn't have, I wanted white to separate the blue on the neck there. So of course I painted everything white. And this is the cup, so this is actually going to be going inside of the bike frame, so you won't see that. But I'm really stoked on how this all came out, and I'm going to get everything set up to start putting the headset on, and I'll cut to that, and then I'll just cut to after connecting it all, or whatever you want to call it. But super stoked about this. Let me know what you think before you see the whole outlook of the bike, of how you think it's going to look. All right, I'll be back. All right, so walking you through what I've got so far, this is my race that's going on the forks. I added a little bit of grease to help get that to slide on there, and I'm going to use this to goes over the tube, and I'll just hammer that on. Make sure you get it flush against the fork before you start adding anything else. This is called the race, I believe, and then I'll add I've got sealed bearings, so it'll go on like this. The bearings will go against the race, I'm pretty sure, and you get 2 cups. They are not the same size, so pay attention to that. The larger cup goes on the bottom of the steer tube on the frame, which means it'll be here, and that's going to go on there. I mean, it's going to go on once the frame is on there, but I'll get to that part in a minute. It did come with a separate race in a separate bag. I'm honestly not sure why. I think there's only one race that goes on. I'll have to get back to you on that. Maybe there are 2 races that are used. I'm honestly not sure, but as I put it together, I'll figure it out. All right, so if you've watched some of my other videos, you know I don't have a bike stand or anything, so I just kind of make do with what I have. But I've got the cup on there. I put a little bit of grease, and you've seen this tool before. I put some tape just to protect the paint as much as I could, because I did paint this. It's not powder coated or anything, so it'll probably chip easily if I'm not careful. And of course, my trusty crescent wrench to tighten this down. I do 1 at a time just to keep it even. And again, that larger cup is on the bottom. I hope that's right. Like I said, you guys feel free to comment if it's supposed to be the other way, but that's what I've seen. So, all right, cool. I'm going to put both of these on, and then I'll get back with you. All right, so I've got both cups in there, and I should have taken the pads off. I really didn't want to show that this soon, but again, I taped up stuff. I really didn't want to nick anything. This paint, if you paint bikes yourself or if you paint anything yourself, it's probably going to be softer than if it comes from the factory. So just take a lot of caution. There was a little bit of chipping in the top, but I don't think it's going to show. So now my next step is going to be, I'm going to put the fork in. I've already got the the bearing in there. I guess that would be the bearing side out, goes against the race. So kind of keep that in mind. Again, a lot of this is, I think. If you know different, feel free to let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and put the fork in, and then I'll work from the top, I guess you could say, down. So I'm going to get that set up. Like I said earlier, I have this extra race. I don't think I use it, especially since it was in a separate package from the rest of the pieces. Maybe it was just an extra one. I don't really know. Maybe I could call them, but it was from Pork Chop BMX. They're really good with customer service, but I'm just going to see what goes on here. Okay, that was not easy. I don't know if maybe the fork threads were a little boogered up, or maybe I got a little cross thread. I don't think that's what it was, because I got it all the way on and then it just stopped. So I had to use my crescent wrench, which obviously, like I've talked about with the paint, was not going to be great. So I used this rag to try and wrap around it, but as you can see, I boogered up the paint a little bit. Not too big of a deal, so I can just get a brush, spray paint the paint on the brush, and kind of touch that up. But I'm going to go ahead and put the other piece on just to make sure I don't have any other issues with paint. And there's like this, I don't know if it's necessarily a lock washer, but it's got this little nipple on it. It goes right in this groove. And then on top of that goes the lock nut. So I'm going to get these 2 pieces on, and might even go ahead and, yeah, I'll get these 2 pieces on, touch up that paint, and then I'll be back. Well, that came out looking horrible. So this is really just going to be a wall hanger. And of course, this is on the drive side. The non-drive side looks fine, but this is the side that everybody's going to see. And because I'm absolutely bonkers, I am going to take some of this this plastic painter's wrap stuff, whatever, tape everything up. I got to tape up this little rubber piece also, because I know paint will flake off of that. And I've got to paint that. And I'm not going to use the wrench to take it off. That would kind of defeat the purpose, because then I got to use the wrench to put it back on, and I'll chip the paint again. So I got to do all that work, and then I'll get back to you. All right, so I got it all cleaned up and went to put the handlebars on, and I made a mistake. So one thing you want to double check is you really need to get one of these micrometer, I guess they're called. Get a cheap one from Walmart. They're probably only like $5. And I don't have it turned on right now, but I'm just showing you what you need to measure. So you need to measure the inner diameter of your forks. This one is 21, and I purchased a 22, which is pretty standard. This is a 92, so I don't think it technically falls under old school BMX, and that could be the issue. I honestly don't know, but I made a mistake, so I just ordered the correct one. It's going to be the same style. It'll be here Monday, and I'll get to finish, but I just wanted to point out that mistake, so maybe you guys will learn from it and not make the same mistake. I did get the correct size in for the stem already, obviously. Got the handlebars put on there, but I'm going to go ahead and cut the video. I'm going to get the handlebars on. I'm going to get the crank arms on with the sprocket. I will probably then just set the wheel in there, and I'll get back to you before I put on the chain tensioners, just to kind of show you how I do it. Maybe it's wrong. I don't know. You guys can tell me. And But yeah, that's about it. One thing you're not going to see me do is actually run the brake cable. That's something I'm not really good at, but I'll have the brake handle on and the brakes themselves, but I'll have to take it to a shop, which you guys won't see that happen, but I'll have to take it to a shop and get those put on. But anyway, let me get to building. All right, so quick little update. Sorry, I really try to keep these videos short, but I can't help it, and I guess I talk too much. But anyway, the one crank arm went on relatively easy. This one was really hard. I don't know why. I had to use a rag to cover it up and my rubber mallet to knock it on there. Now, unfortunately, after I got it on there, the sprocket was still loose, and I realized I forgot to put in the washer for whatever size, whether you have a 19 or a 22. I forgot to put that on. So I had to knock it out, and the way I did it is I took a extension. Obviously the screw was out, and because it was so difficult to knock on there, I didn't want to try and knock it back this way, so I just simply took a hammer and knocked the spindle back that way until this came off. Put the spacer on, and blah, blah, blah. Now it's on there. And now I'm getting ready to put on my chain tensioners. As you can see, there's two different holes that fit there, whichever one you want, and it's notched on the back, so it fits right in there. And just kind of wanted to show you that. I'm going to get the chain tensioners on, brakes on, and I'll be done. All right, there it is, about 99% complete. Like I told you, I'm not going to be running the brake cable because it's just not something I'm really good at, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a complete walk around. I'm not going to be doing any stickers. I've got that old school layback post, not the crappy one you see that has that support in it. Those will usually bend. I just really love these colors, and I'm a huge fan of looptail. I hope Mongoose, I know they came out with the Hooligan a while back. I hope they come out with a 29er in a looptail. That would be pretty sick. Chromoly or aluminum even, I don't care. But I did a lot of painting of pieces on this. I know I've mentioned it along the way, but I painted the chain tensioners, which I know is not old school BMX, but I like them. Painted the crank arms, the bolts, I'll probably do a little touch up, maybe, I don't know. Painted the sprocket. Painted the headset. And this isn't painted because that's just a rubber piece. I think that's about all that I painted. Everything else came white. Just let you check that out. The pads were custom. Got those from a guy over in Brazil, I think. Couldn't find anything that was blue with white, and found that guy online. I'll go ahead and walk around to the front. I've also got one for the stem, but if you've seen my other videos, I really don't like those. I like to see the stem. And added the blue dice as a nice little touch. But that's going to wrap it up. Of course, you would have already seen it once you'll see the intro video. But hope you like it, man. Make some comments. Let me know what you think.